The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
The 72 are asking their experts to predict Pompey's opening fixture. Harry Mail says, Oxford United could be up against it this season if they don't get points on the board early doors. OUFC did well to stay up with ease last season. The second campaign is always a tough one though, and they need to start well. Gary Rowett is an experienced manager and knows what he is doing at championship level. Portsmouth will fancy their chances of going to the Kassam Stadium and getting a result. Pompey have recruited well, and will hope that their new signings can gel together. John Mousinho's side are carrying momentum from last term and will be in confident mood. For that reason I can see them getting 3 points here. Prediction: Oxford United 1, Portsmouth 2. James Ray says Oxford United and Portsmouth come into this season with similar goals, in the sense that they won't want to fall into a false sense of security after their survival in their first campaigns back in the Championship. The hosts have a top Championship manager and have made some fine recruits this summer, so I think they'll cause problems once again, though I don't think they'll venture too far up the table. That could open the door for Pompey to pick up a good result to start their season here. John Mousinho is one of the Championship's under-the-radar bosses, and I think he'll help them really progress this year. I'll say Pompey start off on the right foot, condemning OUFC to defeat. Prediction: Oxford United 1, Portsmouth 2.
Right, okay. Are we the only ones who are a little bit uncomfortable about the fact that both of the 72's experts have predicted Pompey 2, Oxford 1 on Saturday? Why is that? Why do we feel a little bit uncomfortable about that? Is it because, like you, dear listener, we are experts? You are an expert? We are experts. So what makes these guys think they know a little bit more than we do just because they've got a journalistic outlet? Well, they do. They're called experts. And they're both going 2-1 Pompey. I like it when other experts are wrong, don't you? I mean, they set themselves up as experts. We don't. We just say what we think. We don't say we're experts. I've never met a Pompey fan who said he was an expert, or she was an expert. Just that they're entitled to their opinions and their views, provided they voice them with a certain amount of consideration of others. But 2-1, both of them? OK, let's take that stage further. Let me put this to you, listener. Who's going to get those 2 goals? All right? Let's assume I'm not an expert, so I'm going to say Callum Lang gets them both. What do you think? It's just the sort of game where he'd do that. He fizzes and pops around the pitch, and he knows when to pop up. And he's going to have such a good cohort in Adrian Segicic, isn't he? They're 2 peas in a pod, physically and the way that they play the game, with a buzz, with a press, with a speed about them. And they're both prepared to take people on. They'll do a dribble. They'll go past people, try to go past people. And we like that in the opposition third, don't we? So maybe Segicic gets one and Lang gets the other. Who have we got up front? We've got the boy Waddingham, in all probability. I mean, again, Mousinho is not beyond springing a surprise. He will expect Oxford to expect that. It's going to have to be Tom Waddingham up front. So he might just go ahead and surprise them by not playing, false centre-forward thing. Because if you've got people who can score goals and go past people, such as Josh and Callum and Adrian, then perhaps you could try a game. Maybe they're going to be doing this on Friday on the training ground. Maybe they're going to try and play without a target man up front. Without a big guy. We can bring up some big guys for corners and free kicks if we get them, when we get them. So maybe we don't need a towering, not that Waddingham is exactly gigantic, but he's big enough to wear a number 9 shirt and look authentic. So they're both going 2-1. Fingers crossed, that would be lovely. 3-1 would be even better. So we're going to predict 3-1, just so that we show a little bit more bias, of course, and optimism for our own side, and in the hope that we're right and then we can ha-ha they're wrong. That's how it works, opinions.
Veteran winger Matt Ritchie could be set for his first League One stint in over a decade, with Reading showing interest in bringing the experienced 35-year-old to the Madejski Stadium. After joining Portsmouth last summer, Ritchie had a solid season, making 39 championship appearances and wearing the captain's armband several times late in the campaign. But despite his contributions, he's now reportedly surplus to requirements at Fratton Park. According to the news, Reading have made their move, with Pompey open to mutually terminating Ritchie's contract. The prospect of landing a player of his calibre on a free transfer would be appealing to any League One side. While Ritchie managed 5 goals and an assist last season, there's still reported interest from Championship clubs, who likely have deeper pockets than Reading. The former Newcastle man took a significant pay cut to join Pompey, dropping from £45,000 to £15,000 per week, and might be hesitant to reduce his wages further. Under new ownership, Reading are working to rebuild, but they currently have League One's lowest wage bill at around £42,300 per week. Adding even a £10,000 weekly salary could be a stretch for the Royals this summer. Still, manager Noel Hunt might fancy his chances of convincing Ritchie to drop down a level. While it's an ambitious target for Reading, landing a player of Ritchie's experience and quality would be quite a coup for their right wing.
Yes, spot the deliberate mistake. It's not called the Majeski Stadium anymore, is it? It's called the Static Caravan? Select Car Leasing Stadium, which runs off the tongue, doesn't it? Like honey. So, Matt Ritchie. Well, we'll always remember him fondly. Anybody who's prepared to take a pay cut of £35,000 a week or £30,000 a week in order to fulfil a homecoming with whatever emotion was involved there and return to the part of the world that presumably he still loves, is going to be a Pompey hero, especially if he achieved, and he did achieve, and we'll never forget him hurtling around the pitch in his mid to beginnings of late 30s, like a man possessed, and scoring some good goals and making some good goals. A very effective player, and leaving, as of the moment that we speak, leaving a bit of a hole up front on the right for Pompey. But if he can keep his career going, and he seems like the kind of guy who would like to be playing beyond his 39th birthday, I think that's a little bit of a private goal that he's got. I mean, some would call it a bit of a vanity, but I think it's a private goal that he's got to prove to himself and anybody who's interested that he managed to maintain a level of fitness that enabled him to go on playing past the magic 40. And it's not that long ago that players, once they hit the magic 30, were considered probably surplus to requirement, or at least the beginnings of surplicity. So Matt Ritchie, we wish him well. We hope that they can have a whip round and find the dough that's needed. £10,000 a week? What's that a year? I can't do it. Is that... Surely not. 50 times 10 is 500. £500,000 a year. That's not bad, is it? Blimey, the bosses of water companies get pilloried for taking home that kind of sum of money. And, water, preferably clean, is that much more important than kicking a ball around, which is what a lot of people reduce football to. But anyway, that's the different argument. What we're saying here is, good luck to you, Matt Ritchie. Hope you get yourself a home that's close enough for you to commute, which would be nice, so you can stay at home, drive to Reading for training and drive to Reading for matches. That will be absolutely perfect, and you won't get in our way. So, Matt, take the hit.
Steve Bone on the option of playing without a designated number 9.
If Waddingham gets injured before Colby's fit again, they might have to, mightn't they? Yeah, because you've still got players who are a threat up front. If you went out there with Lang and Segacic and Murphy, I think you can get away with that, because it doesn't have to be a number 9 scoring goals. You can still get people in the box, when there's a cross coming in or when there's a set piece. So yeah, why not? A few years ago, it would have been unthinkable, wouldn't it, to play without a striker? But the football's changed, and it's often the way, isn't it? Man City are the ones who sort of show the way. Pep's not afraid to try different things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I think it's possible. I don't think the manager would choose to do that. But if his hand is forced, yeah, why not? A player, what would it be? A 4-6-0 formation or something.
It's worth thinking about, even if Waddingham is available. Manchester City, of course, they had world-class players, but they played without a number 9. They had their most success playing without a number 9, with Aguero lying deep. I remember talking to centre-half who had played against Man City when they were doing that. And I said, what was it like? And he said it was a nightmare because we had no one to mark. So could Pompey do it? Well, with the likes of Segicic and Lang and Josh, of course, in the side, you've got guys who can score goals. How many towering headers did Colby Bishop score at the back post? You know, we love them, towering headers at the back post. But I think in the 2 and a bit years that he's been with us, he didn't score any that I can remember. Maybe I've got that wrong. We do score towering headers. Ask Shaughnessy, that great moment in the 89th minute. We do score towering headers, but it tends to be our 6'3", 4-inch centre-halves when they go up for corners and maybe free kicks. The one thing that you do need in a target man is if the goalkeeper wants the option of playing it long. Well, if anybody wants the option of playing it long to somebody who's up front. And Colby is brilliant at holding the ball up. And I don't think Lang and Segicic, I don't think any of those guys, apart from Colby Bishop. And if he learns the trick of his trade, a key trick of his trade, Waddingham will be able to get there first and hold the ball up, get it on his chest so that the centre-half has to foul him in order to get anywhere near the ball. It's one of the many things Colby is so good at. OK, so we're not going to have that for the first 2 or 3 games. We have got a very promising young Australian, though. Who knows where the back of the net is? But it doesn't have to be a towering far post header, which lets in the likes of Lang and Segicic and Josh Murphy, who knows where the back of the net is. So it's an option. It's an option. It's not one that we'd actually welcome, but, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And if Waddingham isn't available, injured, or just goes off the boil a little bit, John Messina will be thinking about it, surely.